Welcome to Sports Geek Throwback. Here's your host, the sports geek himself, Sean Callanan.
G'day, I'm Sean Callanan from Sports Geek, and welcome to Sports Geek Throwback, where I pick out the best bits from the Sports Geek podcast archive. For this week's Sports Geek Throwback, I go back to episode 126 with Eric Blankenship from the Tampa Bay Lightning, recorded in September 2016. Eric was the VP of Marketing at the Tampa Bay Lightning at the time. He now runs his own full-service marketing agency, Mindstone Marketing Group. Remember, if you need help with your digital, marketing or sponsorship, I'm here to help your team. That's what we do at Sports Geek, applying the digital to dollars process to help your team build revenue from digital. In this throwback episode, Eric and I discuss developing global fan bases. I've applied many strategies from this conversation with our work, developing fan bases for the NFL here in Australia and New Zealand. Remember, you can listen to the full episode at sportsgeekhq.com/126. Enjoy.
And so what you can do from a global brand point of view and attract those fans, and then how you go about engaging them and potentially monetizing them is the next question. But it's very much on offer compared to, say, your first stint at the Lightning. Global fans and talking to these fans around the world wasn't even an option. Whereas now, like you said, through the advent of social and digital, it's now available. And a good friend of mine, Natalie Brown, who's been on the podcast when she was at the Storm, and now she's at Collingwood. She puts her hand up and says she's Australia's biggest Lightning fan. And she,
I like it.
And so, so she's always talking. She was so excited when I said I was going to be talking to you. She actually gave me some of the questions. She was so excited. So I will connect you with Natalie, but tell us a little bit about the Distant Thunder campaign and how you've gone about identifying some of these fans.
So Distant Thunder is a very interesting story, So during our Stanley Cup playoff run, when we ultimately went to the finals against Chicago, not this past season, but the season before, so we work with a local agency to do some of the things that we do, especially when it comes to our overall brand look and feel for the season. They also help us quite a bit on our radio and TV creative. Great local company that actually, ironically enough, just opened an office in London. They're called Dunn & Company. But they're literally based about 5 minutes from us here. But anyway, I remember the owner of the company came into my office, and this is during playoff time, so things are hectic. Things are crazy. He says, "Hey, Eric, I have an idea." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I want to send some guys to Brazil." I'm like, "Okay, why?" He says, "Well, we have a Lightning fan in Brazil, and we kind of want to talk to him." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think it might be kind of cool." And I literally kind of blew it off. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Because the bottom line is they do such great work with us, and they're very in tune with our brand and what we stand for. So if he felt compelled enough to ask me to send people to Brazil, I was like, you know what, I trust you, go ahead and do it. Little did I know that would be the start of something quite big. So they go to Brazil, they send a couple cameras out there, and they meet this guy, Raphael. And basically, and I would definitely ask your listeners to do a Google search for Distant Thunder and Lightning, or you can find it on our website, although our website is about to change over here in the next couple of weeks, so who knows where it's going to be then.
I will find it. I will find it and include it in the show notes.
Great. But anyway, we basically found out this guy's in Brazil, and he's a huge Lightning fan. And I'm talking like one of those P1 Lightning fans that all of us clamor for. Lives and breathes Lightning. Listens to us, watches us, wears our gear, spreads the word about the Lightning. But the interesting part of the story is he'd never been to the States. He'd never been to a Lightning game. There's really no connection to a Lightning, so we were wondering, well, how the heck did this happen? So I don't want to spoil too much of it, because I can honestly tell you, when I watch this video, and I've seen the video 50 times, it legitimately makes me pause and really appreciate what I do and how lucky I am to be doing what I do for the Tampa Bay Lightning in this market, because it gives you a real good indication of, how important what we do can be. But we get his story. Why is he a Lightning fan? What does it mean? What's his life like? And then the interesting, and again, I'm reluctant to spoil some of it, but I think it's worth giving you and your listeners a little bit of insight. But in the story, he says, I've never been to the United States, and I've never been to a Lightning game. One day I hope I can make it. So we did a 30-second teaser video for this, and we threw it out on social media, not really knowing what to expect. And the amount of feedback we got was just unreal. And you know what everyone was saying? You got to get this guy to a game. And literally, when I saw it for the first time, I looked at my creative director. I'm like, we got to get this guy to a game. And then I showed it to other executives here, and everyone said, how can we get this guy to a game? I'm like, that's what we said. And literally everyone was saying the same thing. So when you watch this video, you'll kind of find out why we all said that. And then the story continues to unfold. There's technically 3 videos. There's a 30-second teaser. There's about a 2.5-minute mini movie on this guy, but then there's I forgot how long the recap is, but there's a recap of his experience, because we do bring him to a game. And again, I won't share the insides and outs of that, but it's definitely worth a watch. But basically what that turned into was something much bigger. And then we realized that there are fans all over the world that are Lightning fans. For some reason, they've adopted us without even really, knowing us, quite honestly, all that well. I mean, they don't live in Tampa. They don't go to games. The only way they know us is through, what they see on TV or on the internet or anything in between. But what we found is they're all over the world. So we decided to aggregate all the content, and we have a microsite on our current website, Distant Thunder. And basically, over the course of the past year or so, people keep submitting photos and videos of themselves supporting the Lightning, mostly with, hats and T-shirts and jerseys all around the world. And it's turned into something much bigger than we ever thought. And now, it really speaks to our brand and what it means globally, just as much as what it means locally.
If you like this Sports Geek Throwback episode, please check out the full episode at sportsgeekhq.com. Please share Sports Geek with your sports business colleagues. We appreciate you sharing. We love working with podcast listeners. Please get in touch so we can help your team. Go to sportsgeekhq.com/phone call. All Sports Geek episodes are available at sportsgeekhq.com and all podcast platforms.